This is Cheryl from California, and today is day 5 of Og Mandino's University of Success. So this is the last day of semester 1, and the theme of semester 1 was to examine yourself. So I was thinking as I was, after I did my last video, that not everyone is an audio kind of learner. There's different people have different ways of learning, and I realized I might have to include some video as well, some visual aids as well, instead of you just listening to everything that I'm saying. Now, Og Mandino wrote the introduction for the University of Success, and he picked 50 different authors that he has selected and put them in a certain order. So for lesson 5, he has chosen Mr. Louis Binstock. And he wrote the book, The Road to Successful Living. Now in this one, well, there's a little quote, so I'll read that. Very often we are our own worst enemy as we foolishly build stumbling blocks on the path that leads to success and happiness. So he said there's 10 things, 10 most common causes of failure. So since we're looking at ourselves, introspectively looking at ourselves, then I have actually wrote those down so that the visual learner can also get something out of this. I realize I'm going to probably have to get a board. I might even have to go on the computer at one point and actually do some stuff in the computer. But for today, we're just going to work with this. Now, from my experience, I have been, I'm a nurse by profession, so I have done a lot of teaching with the military, just other nurses and also technicians, or, what you would call corpsmen in the Navy, or medical technicians in the Air Force, where I retired from. Now, these are the 10 common goals of failure. And we're just going to go over each one of them, one at a time. Blaming others. I mean, that kind of is, it's self-explanatory. You blame others. So, perfect example would be, the employer who says, well, my boss is just so hard on me, and, or, I wouldn't have done it if so-and-so didn't make me do it. Well, you have to take responsibility for the actions that you have and whatever your failures are. And then the second stumbling block is blaming yourself. Now, blaming yourself is actually one of the worst things that you can do, because it really goes into where you start to tear your self-esteem down and tear down yourself, and you start to get like an inferiority complex and insecurities. And a lot of times what a lot of people do when they start to self-blame, it also paralyzes them as far as moving on. So that's not a very good thing. The third one is having no goals at all. So if you, first of all, a goal is not a goal unless you write it down. So if you have a goal and you haven't written it down, then it's just a dream. And there's something about when you write something down, how it's, it's almost, you're setting things in action. You're setting things, on a roll. So that is the third one. So you have to have goals. And no goal is bad enough, but low goals are worse. In other words, if you set your sight small, then if you don't attain it, then you haven't done anything, But if you set your sight to the skies, then then at least you can reach the stars. I think this quote was something that I really wanted to kind of bring out, to kind of hit home. So a lot of people waste their God-given talents on worthless pleasures. They spread the salt of their energies over the meat of their life, and they find that the salt has lost its savior. So you have to, actually have a goal. have something that you're striving for. It doesn't matter what it is, whether you're in school or you're doing business or you are, you have a goal just to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of your kids and homeschool them. You have to write down your goals. So you're not going to be successful unless you write down your goals. And then the fourth thing would be if you're choosing the wrong goal. A lot of people choose the wrong goal. And that is not good either. Tell the story of a Chinese man who all he wanted to do was get a lot of gold. So he went up to a stand and, they had gold coins, and he just grabbed the coins. And then the police, they caught him and they asked him, said, why would you do such a thing? And, around all these people, he said, I only saw the gold. He didn't see the people because his goal was so wrong that it just blinded him. They have goals that maybe are not filled with integrity. And if you are attaining to something and you don't have integrity, whatever you give out is what's going to be attracted to you. So just know that, that's not what you want to do. That's not how you want to start off, especially if it's a business that you're building. And then the fifth stumbling block of failure is a shortcut. Number 5 is a shortcut. Now, shortcuts, a lot of people, they do a lot of things to, get immediate success, and then find out later that, it's all to avail because, they didn't build the right foundation. So you have to build the right foundation. For me, in my blogging, I'm redoing some things since the new year has started. So I'm changing, I originally had an autoresponder that had preloaded messages from my team, and I'm realizing, I need to write my own. So that was kind of like a shortcut for me. So now I know that I have to change that. And then the opposite of that, which is your 6th common cause of failure, is taking the long road. Now, taking a long road would be someone who got that piece of hair or something, I'm sorry. But they have the everything together. It's like, say a couple who just, they just got married and they want to have a family, and they want to make sure that they have everything in place. Well, life is not perfect. Everything is not always in place when you start out. But I think the example that they gave here was someone who he had got everything together. He worked very hard. He did everything that he needed to do as far as attaining all his lifetime goals and getting all the money that he wanted to get. But when he was getting ready to retire and enjoy it all, he died and never enjoyed it. So you want to make sure that you're not taking the long road. That would be a failure if along the way that you don't really get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And then number 7 is neglecting the little things. Now, I think the story that was written in the book was perfect. It talks about President McKinney, and he was looking for to fill a high diplomatic post, and he had 2 old friends to choose from. And the thing that was the deciding factor for him was that one day he was on a bus, and he was with one of his friends, and there was an older lady that came into the bus, and she carried a basket. Well, his friend, had a newspaper, and he held it up, in front of his face, so no one, he's busy reading, so, it's no big thing. I don't see her, so I don't, I don't have to get up and give her my seat. President McKinley, he wasn't the president at the time, but he got up and he gave the lady his seat. And later on, when he had to fill that diplomatic post, that friend who was busy reading the newspaper, he didn't get that position. So it's the little things in life that counts, you know. The people who pick up the news, the paper that they see somebody else litter, or, do the little things, help someone else out when they don't need to. Then those are the people who usually end up getting, the rewards later. Even if they don't get it from that person, they get it from the universe, the powers of the universe. Then the 8th stumbling block is quitting too soon. Now, there's a famous saying that goes, men don't fail, they give up too soon. I think I was thinking about when I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I remember there was one guy in particular who was mining and for gold, and he was doing really, really well, and then all of a sudden, the vein kind of dried up, and he kept on drilling for a little while, but he ended up actually quitting. And then he sold all his equipment, his mining and stuff equipment, to someone who was, someone just off to the side. And that person went and hired people who knew how to excavate the land, and found out that because of the shift in the land, that the gold vein was just 3 feet away. And as a result of that, the man ended up, going ahead and mining, and ended up with millions of dollars. So that was a really great story for me as far as giving up too soon. The 9th stumbling block is the burden of the past. Now, memories are good memories or bad memories. All of us, respond to them differently. But for the most part, sometimes if you have a really good memory, it can infuse a lot of confidence in you. Whereas if you have some failures in your life, then it can actually tear down your self-esteem. So they don't want you to acknowledge that they're living in the past and they can't move on. And then the 10th stumbling block is the illusion of success. That is someone who actually does get success, but then stops. Now, I've been in Empower Network and blogging for the last 6 months or so. I started in July, but I really didn't start blogging until August. But before that, I was, with a company. And since I started doing Empower, I really don't promote that other company anymore, but I still get residual income from that company that's able to pay for my product. Now, every once in a while, I still have people that want that product, so I do sign them up. But I've noticed that my checks are getting lower, less and less every month, so I'm probably going to have to start supplementing, buying my product with not from my residual checks, but from my own income. That is a perfect example of, the illusion of success. I am not building that company anymore, so, my commissions are getting less and less and less. And that is basically all the 10 different things of failure. So let's do review. Blaming others, blaming yourself, having no goals, choosing the wrong goals, taking the shortcut, taking the long road, neglecting the little things, quitting too soon, the burden of the past, and illusion of success. Okay, so that is the end of semester 1, examining yourself. Join me tomorrow on Wednesday for starting lesson 6 and the beginning of semester 2. Until then, you have a wonderful evening.